Hello and welcome to August's Magic Divorce Club workshop. This month, I want to focus on what to do if you're in kind of a high conflict situation. Um, and this doesn't mean you have to be constantly fighting, um, or even going to court. The stuff that I'm talking about here can show up with you. Oh, in so many different ways. It could be a completely amicable situation from the outside, but if it's showing up in your body as fear, anxiety, frustration, anger, you're feeling triggered all the time, you aren't doing anything wrong. The whole nature of divorce is that it is triggering, So you may feel like your divorce isn't that bad. You hear other people's stories and you're comparing yourself. And I want to, straight off the back say, please don't do that because your situation is very unique to you. You have got a complete history before all of this that will be playing into how you feel now. And you have to take into a fact that you were brought up at this time in this world, in this generation, where we have been taught as women to be compliant and see to other people's needs, and do a lot of smoothing all the things out. So we are naturally wired to cope. It's just in our generation and our DNA for, thousands of years. We're the ones that sort of put out the fires, make sure everyone is okay, make sure their needs are met. Um, I was joking with my mum the other day that I don't have any needs beyond making sure everybody else's needs are met because then they might give me 5 minutes to myself, or I just don't want conflict. I don't want conflict. I don't want anybody falling out with anybody else or feeling like they wish we'd done something else. So it's a bit of a juggle, and I am still trying to learn how to manage that. But when you're put in the middle of divorce, oh my God, that just sets off a whole different level of trying to manage that stuff. Like we're the cog in the middle often that is keeping everything else running. So if you're trying to remove yourself from being that cog, we feel it. You feel it in your nervous system because you are automatically already scanning for how everybody else is feeling and trying to smooth things out. And obviously, in divorce, we can't do that because we're removing ourselves. So, first of all, it can be hard to notice that you're still doing it, even though you're trying to get divorced. You're still trying to smooth things over and watch how you say things and tread on eggshells a little bit around, difficult conversations. And it's very hard to stop doing it because we were trained to be the good girls and, make sure everyone's okay. So that's my caveat for saying that even if you don't think you're in a high conflict situation and your situation isn't that bad, I still think all this stuff will be so useful for you in just helping to manage how you feel. Saying something as simple as, no, I don't want to. No, thank you. That's not for me. How hard is it to say that, honestly? Whew. And saying it to the person that walked down the aisle with and made a sacred contract with, the person that we often have um, maybe put on a pedestal or associated our sense of self-worth with how they view us. It's a minefield. So I want you to know that you're not alone with this. But it's okay. It's okay. Good girls get divorced too. And, you're allowed to have your future as well. And it's safe for you to say no. It just might be hard. Okay. So, um, the crucial thing about today is we can't do anything about your ex, really. As much as we try, It's that smoothing out. It's the trying to make things okay, trying to say things in a certain way so that you don't get backlash. It's very, very hard to do and it's exhausting. And when you're already going through the transition that you are, trying to manage other people's stuff as well as your own is a very fast route to burnout, in my opinion. So, this today is about protecting you, your energy, the way you deal with what comes up with your ex, because we can't control them. We cannot um, really alter how they're going to behave as much as we try. And at the end of the day, at some point, you do have to have that separation so that you can move on and have this beautiful life that I know you're going to have after this. Okay, so bear that in mind. So there's two things I want to share. The first is I want to start with cord cutting. And I know I have talked about this before many, many times, but it's not a one and done thing. So you may have resisted doing this before because you didn't want to. Like, let's face it, some of us go into divorce and we're like, I don't want to get a divorce. This is not what I want to do. But just because you cut the cord does not mean you are destroying a relationship. It's about protecting your energy so that you can think clearly. So I want to start with that because it was the single most helpful thing for me when I knew that I was over functioning for my ex, when I was absorbing his stuff, when I was trying to smooth everything out and keep things steady, or, meet for a coffee and listen to his stuff. There have been times when I have had to keep repeatedly doing this so that I could just hear myself think and not hearing his thinking, if that makes sense. Because I do think when we are so good at knowing how everybody feels, that can start taking a precedence over how we feel. So we always start with this cord cut because I want you to be free from the other stuff and to feel where you are being pulled. Like, is it around your throat? Is it through your heart? I've had one once where it came out of my belly button and it was like this huge, weird umbilical cord. It wasn't with my ex, I'll just say. Very, very strange and disgusting. But, don't let that put you off. So we'll go into a simple cord cut and then um, I'm going to show you how to protect yourself before you go into difficult conversations. So, that kind of fear of conflict, getting it wrong, being told off, like the usual stuff from our school days that we spend all of our adult lives trying to avoid. It is unavoidable sometimes in divorce because you're allowed to advocate for yourselves. And on that note, please bear in mind that for a long time, being able to even have rights as a woman, being able to say, no, I deserve this because I was an equal partner in this relationship is relatively new. No, there was a time when we didn't have rights. So for our generation and our lineage of being a woman and standing up for yourself, there are wounds that go all the way back. The whole good girl vibe is like, how does that fit? And we're also allowed to have, access to money, access to somewhere to live. We don't just need a man in our lives in order to thrive. We're allowed to do it on our own, but that doesn't come without certain instinctual feelings in our bodies coming up because it is foreign and it is new. Like nobody, I can't think of anyone in my lineage who got divorced. I don't think. Certainly not who own their own house. All of this stuff is brand new for some females. So you're doing like unprecedented work as well. Okay. So come to a comfortable seated position. We'll go into a little meditation right now. Take about 10-15 minutes. So get yourself comfortable. Make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. You may want to lay down for this. That's absolutely fine. But just slowing down your breath. And if it feels comfortable to close your eyes, please go ahead and do that. It'll help with the visualization.